What I got, you can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sand. And right now, I'm feeling like 100 grand.
You are listening to Inspired Insider with your host, Dr. Jeremy Wise.
Dr. Jeremy Weiss here, founder of InspiredInsider.com, where I talk with inspirational entrepreneurs and leaders. Today is no different. I have Dave Taylor of Infront Marketing. Dave, before I formally introduce you, I always like to point out other episodes of the podcast people should check out. Since this is part of the Top Agency series, a really good episode was Todd Taskey. Todd Taskey pairs agencies with private equity. He helps sell agencies, essentially. And he's got a great podcast, the Second Bite podcast. Second Bite because he finds they'll sell to private equity. They'll take some money off the table. They'll roll some equity in, and then the private equity will sell again. And sometimes the companies make more on the second bite than they do on the first. So really interesting talking about the agency space, the valuation space, and just business in general. Another good one was Kevin Hurrigan of Spinutech. Dave, he was interesting because he started in 1995. His agency. So we saw the landscape of business, the internet, and the agency world all in one. So that was an interesting one. You know, going way back, we'll even maybe talk about, I know you had a stint at the Yellow Pages. If people don't know what that is, it's a big book that uses a doorstop now, but it used to be a main form of marketing for companies. And so we'll hear about some of your experience there too, because that's interesting to hear. A lot of the fundamentals of online digital comes from print and direct mail and those kind of things. So check out those episodes more on InspiredInsider.com. And this episode is brought to you by Rise 25. At Rise 25, we help businesses give to and connect to their dream relationships and partnerships. And how do we do that? We do that by helping you run your podcast. We're an easy button for a company to launch and run a podcast. We do the strategy, the accountability, and the full execution. So Dave, we call ourselves the magic elves that run in the background and make it look easy for the host and the company so they can create amazing content, create amazing relationships, but most importantly, run their business. For us, for me in particular, the number one thing in my life is relationships. Always looking at ways to give to my best relationships. And I found no better way over the past 15 years to profile the people in the companies I most admire and share with the world what they're working on, their stories and their journey and their lessons. So if you thought about podcasting, you should. If you have questions, go to rise25.com to learn more or email us at support@rise25.com. I am excited to introduce Dave Taylor. He's been in the digital media space for over 15 years. He's co-founder of Infront Marketing. You can check him out at infrontmarketing.ca. And they're a decade old, believe it or not. They work with clientele in all industries. They often have a long list of over 500 clients annually. They help organizations basically with digital advertising and anything that they need around the digital realm. And they make sure it helps that company's overall bottom line, right? They work with companies such as the Calgary Flames, hockey organization, Backyard Meats, and many, many more. Dave, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for taking the time.
So talk a little bit about Infront Marketing and what you do.
Yeah, we're a full service agency. I mean, we're located here in Calgary, Alberta. We incorporated in 2015. Both my business partner, John, and I come from corporate background, as you mentioned, working within Yellow Pages, working within Sun Media and Post Media, which is our large newspaper organization. And we founded the company really just based on a need from customers asking questions for more data, really not being able to understand, if their campaigns were doing anything for them. 10 years ago, data was really a myth. And so we really just focused in on a couple of products that allowed us to connect in market advertising to direct conversion points to show people that there was a true impact. And then over the years, we just formed into more of a full service agency offering things like website design, SEO, Google Ads, social, content creation, video, photography. It really comes down to the client and the needs that they have.
Dave, talk about what were some of the learnings that you brought in your agency early on. I mentioned the Yellow Page groups. I know you did advertising consulting for many years. What did you learn from those organizations that you kind of brought into your agency?
Well, I mean, for me, I learned a lot of the things that just were not being done properly, and the Yellow Pages is, I believe, still guilty of this, where they've got so many clients that they choose to turn a blind eye to data. And when I went, I actually left Sun Media to go to the agency side, and working within an agency. It was only a couple of months that I realized that they were all kind of doing the same thing, that they really wanted to promote, branding, create your brand, create your tone of voice. And then once that brand is in market, people will relate with it, and that'll do the work. But they weren't leveraging any data points to really optimize campaigns or really help understand who they were targeting and what those people were doing. And the Yellow Pages, is still doing this on a very, very large scale, and so are a lot of the large corporate entities, where really they just want to, customers with budgets, they're running ad campaigns. Customers are very unaware of what's happening. And this, for agencies who really take a data first approach, creates a lot of opportunity, because we can very quickly come in and show where there's opportunities for business owners to really connect the dots and see the impact that these campaigns are having, as well as, opportunities to see better performance. Because if you're running campaigns without a connection to data, the systems themselves don't have an opportunity to learn what a purchaser looks like or help you find more of them. And so that's where I mean that there's a ton of opportunity when you uncover these businesses who are running blind in their campaigns. And really that was just what helped us get started. And that narrative is something that we've kept really close to the chest with all of our customers.
Talk about what life looked like when you first started the agency and took the plunge, because you, it's not like you moved in this fancy office. You were hustling at the time. So talk about that time.
Yeah, well, it was probably 2 years until we really took a paycheck. And I think this is a really important thing to note for a lot of people who are considering starting an agency, is that the best thing that you can do is find a way to pay your rent without, taking money from the company, because there's going to be a lot of bumps in the road, and, customers coming and going while you're building trust and trying to showcase what you're capable of doing. There's going to be some big increases in revenue and some quiet months. And so I was working in a restaurant, I was waiting tables, and 9 to 5, I was working on the business. I was working with my business partner, John, in his spare bedroom, and, two desks facing each other. And really that was it for us, that tiny room for a couple of years. And at one point we just kind of looked at each other and said, I think it's time for us to find some real space. But really all that meant was we moved into a co-working space and a spare bedroom in an office building. And so it was a great choice, because we moved into an agency focused space, and we built some amazing relationships with other agencies. And really part of our way of building the business was to be collaborative and to help, find people who we could offer services that they weren't offering in the market, and vice versa, leverage the services that they were doing, and then kind of build relationships and have this collaborative approach towards clients, so that we didn't have to hire creatives, we didn't have to hire designers, we didn't have to hire website people or SEO technical experts. We were able to leverage the work that other people were doing and bring our client relationships there. And then we were able to act as media buyers and build programmatic campaigns and run Google ad campaigns, and really just focus on the data aspect for a lot of other, small freelance or small agencies who didn't offer those services. So that was our approach from the beginning. And then we discovered there was a company or a co-working agency really that was kind of speaking our same language. And we moved into a 300 square foot office and stared at each other in there for for 3 years in that same room. And what it taught us was that we could afford to pay rent, and you know, that was kind of important for us to understand that we actually had a growing agency, and you know, we didn't have to worry so much about where the money was coming from and staring at the bank account all the time. We were able to pay rent and pay ourselves and quit our full-time jobs. And so 2 years in, we went all in to the business and never looked back. And then so 3 years in the co-working space, and then we moved into a 2,000 square foot office.
That was after the 300 square foot office?
That's right.
That's a big jump.
Big jump. We had four physical offices in there, and 8 desks, a boardroom, and a nice lounge area, kitchen, big patio off the back. On 17th Avenue, which is sort of the vibrant community space in Calgary. And again, very welcoming. We made sure to keep an office open for people that in our space could rent. It was rented by a website designer. It was rented by a freelancer, and then it was eventually rented by a business coaching company, which we built a great partnership with, and they've come with us now to our new space.
So it kind of offset some of the cost. Maybe you didn't need the full space, but you rented one of the offices, kind of offset the cost and the built-in partner potential too.
That's right. And we did the same thing with some of our desks. So we had a videographer who rents a desk from us. And again, it's just people who offer services and have access to clients in ways that we may not. And an opportunity for us to collaborate with them, share work with them. And we always said, you know, anybody we meet along the way who doesn't have an office and is in marketing, if you need a boardroom, we've got one. Come and host your meetings here at our space. It's an opportunity for them to be introduced to us. It's an opportunity for them to have a professional working environment. And really, you know, rather than having that room sit empty or an office empty or a desk empty, we just offer it to people. And now, you know, crossing into 10 years into business, we moved into a beautiful 3,500 square foot office. We're kind of looking at the next 10 years of the business as being a staple within the marketing community and growing. We're in Inglewood, which is sort of the agency dream. You want to own an agency in Calgary, Inglewood is where you want to own it. Some of the largest agencies in North America have a headquarters here in Inglewood, and this is a great community that just continues to grow. It struggled for a little while. If you came in 10 years ago, there's some empty spaces. You're not a lot of restaurants, not a lot going on. It had kind of hit a bit of a roadblock, but now they've really invested into some nice multi-residential units. There's higher income earners living in here. It's right along the river, so there's beautiful homes that have been built. The restaurants have come back, the retail has come back. It's become a lot more vibrant, and it's just a great place to hang your hat and own a business. And this is the first time 10 years into business we hung a sign on the street, and we got the Inglewood Night Market here, which is just tons and tons of businesses all along the street, thousands of people every Friday night coming through, and they get to see our sign, and we're super proud of that now.
Dave, talk about, okay, so you go from 2,000 to 3,500 in that part of the journey. I know a lot of people in the past couple of years have downsized their office. So talk about the decision to actually double down and increase, almost double your office space.
Yeah, well, I mean, we were forced, just like everybody, to do the work from home thing, and you know, even during the move, we spent, you know, 3 or 4 weeks with everybody disjointed and working from home, and it just doesn't work in marketing in a lot of ways. I think people are making it work, but the whole idea of owning a marketing agency is to have fun and really enjoy the relationships that they're building, not just with your clients, but with your employees. And you know, for us, even we sat together yesterday and we're talking about what can we do together as a team to go and have some fun together. It's not just about going for lunch, but should we go to a paint night or should we go do something? And we've been very fortunate over the years to always be able to do that sort of stuff and not just wait on a Christmas party. And And I can tell you when we're working from home, the amount of stuff that just kind of goes by and timelines get longer. People aren't asking questions. People feel like they're on an island. They're struggling with, how to help a client when they have a question that they're unsure of how to answer sometimes. And for me, I love being able to just walk out and talk to the team and pose a challenge and get an answer and have 5, 6, 7 different voices speak up and say, here's how I would approach that. And so we don't necessarily need right now all the space that we have. We have 8 working desks that we've moved over from the other space, and we have an additional at the backside here, 6 that we are in the process of building. And so we've allowed our team to almost double in size in the office, and then we still have a couple of remote, opportunities that are here and there. But without that collaboration and the space to collaborate, we can feel it just in the culture, in the work, in the personalities, and in all of it. And so it wasn't a hard decision for us to move into a bigger office. It was actually an easy decision. And really for us, we can feel that we've got lots of opportunity to grow. The business, almost grows. I wouldn't say by default, but it does. We get a lot of interest from different customers, and we're able to be a little bit more selective now. So we're in a really nice place where we have opportunity ahead of us, and we have to be prepared for it.
No, it's interesting, you grow into your spaces by being flexible and innovative with, okay, well, we could bring in partners and they could rent a desk here. We'll have a boardroom. People can bring in their clients and we'll meet other people in the community, other businesses, other, potential partners. Talk about some key hires. So it's you and John, you're in a spare bedroom. All right. And it doesn't have to be people, but just like position wise, take me through a little bit of the evolution of hiring. So after the spare bedroom, who is the next key position that you hired for? Because at this point you're getting clients and you're kind of partnering with these other agencies, and you guys did a great job of kind of staying lean and profitable throughout these years. What was the first key hire?
Yeah, that first hire is actually still with us, which is just honestly a success story all on its own. And we're so fortunate to have Matthew kind of stick with us. And he hung on for probably 6 months waiting to work with us. And I think it was just timing, and life works out sometimes. And he was just coming out of school and double major in business and in marketing, and was looking for an opportunity. And so, contacted me through LinkedIn, did a very informal, hey, looking for an opportunity.
Why did he contact you? Like, what was the reason?
I'm going to say he probably contacted a bunch of different agencies, and I do have a voice on LinkedIn. So, I think that there's probably just something that I maybe posted that he was following, and whatever. At the end of the day, most likely was just a happenstance where he was reaching out to others. And so it took us 6 months really to make the decision. And I've said this on a couple of different interviews, but if you're having that conversation of what's the right time to hire, you're probably past it. You're probably past that real good time. You're overloaded with work. You're running things all on your own. You don't have that person to share a voice with or help. And it's going to simply come down to you just got to make the decision sometimes to do it. And bringing in people sparks growth all on its own, because you all of a sudden have this free time to network more and get into the community more and ask for more referrals and cold call and do outreach. And so that was a great hire. And he's elevated himself to really helping teach the people that we bring in for media buying and managing data and building reports. And really, he works directly with clients. He's very open to building strategy with them. He's not sitting there kind of going, I've got a job and this is my job. He's built himself right into the business. and I feel like we've given him the opportunity to do that. But we're in a place now where we're about to have another conversation about what does the future look like for him, because he wants to be here, and it's great to say that after this long. The other, I guess, key for us, and I look across the board, and I think that we're really, really lucky to have everybody who's here now. But John, my business partner here, had a right-hand man at when he was, at the previous job. And we courted this individual for a few years, honestly, until they were ready. And now, they've moved into an operations role with us and really streamlined some stuff, and really has become a go-to for everybody when it comes to our internal communications, just making sure work is getting done, project management and tasks. So you have, a key component when it comes to buying media and managing data, and then we have a really key component when it comes to internal operations and managing projects. And it allows people that come in who are new to really just find their lane, find their role, stick within it. And then once they get comfortable, there's other opportunities. And our onboarding is a little bit simpler now.
So I could see operations are key. So you definitely wanted to put in someone who's helping streamline with operations. When Matthew first came on, what was the position did you create this position for him, or what position did you have in mind before he came in?
Yeah, it was a support. John was underwater. Realistically, when it comes to our roles, I'm more, face of the franchise, kind of in front of customers, working on strategy, really just developing campaigns, developing creative messaging, identifying different platforms, what's going to work best. And then when it comes to the technical side of building out conversions, tracking data, getting campaigns up and running, writing language, that all kind of fell on John. And so it was really just getting John that support. And so the one thing that we tell everybody here is, we don't want a job just to be a job. We want you to find the things you like to do, and then we can certainly find ways to evolve the job to include things. So you're not just writing content for Facebook. You have other opportunities, whether it's email automation or videography or reels, or on the ad buying side, you want to learn about data. There's lots of different really good opportunities to evolve that role. Based on the interest at branding, creative design. They've got lots of different skill sets, and for us to just put them into one spot doesn't necessarily make sense. And so we took that same approach when we hired Matthew, and really it was just we've got a lot to do and we need help. So it kind of happened organically that way, but over the years, he's really found his voice within the company, and really found a way to be a key component, somebody who we honestly couldn't live without, so.
Dave, you mentioned operations, you put someone in place, a key hire was operations. You mentioned project management, other things. Talk about just some of the software you use to run the business.
Yeah, I mean, we really simplify everything, for the most part. We use an internal communication system called ClickUp. ClickUp, I think a lot of people use, but don't necessarily use it to its true ability. And that's something that we're always talking about internally, about the best way to use it, because it is a great communication and project.
We use ClickUp also. So you kind of use it also, not just for project management, but also kind of what people use Slack for as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, depending on the client, right? We use Slack, we use lots of different, and Teams comes into play all the time. You kind of have to just work with what they're working with. But when it comes to internally, ClickUp is certainly our thing. And then we use HubSpot, but depending on the client, we might use MailChimp or ActiveCampaign or Klaviyo or HubSpot. There's just so many. And sometimes it comes down to budget. If they've got the budget for a HubSpot and they've got the ability to actually use it properly, we'll make that recommendation. If they want a more simplified communication tool, we'll do that. And again, I think that's the key for us is, yeah, we're a HubSpot partner, but at the same time, we have the ability to look at each customer and go, financially, what makes the most sense, resource wise, what makes the most sense. We're not just grabbing boxes off the shelf and putting them in a shopping cart. We're really looking at the business to determine what tools are going to be the best. And, like I said, 10 years in, we've got the ability to do that because we've been introduced to so many different platforms, and you can see the value. And then also you can see where people are just wasting money. Some people have, way too many plugins on their website that they're paying for. They'll have way too many communications tools that they're not using. So we can streamline some of that stuff.
Let's talk about the client side. So I can see really you start in a spare bedroom, you go to a co-working space, you go to a 300 square foot office, then 2,000, then 3,500. When you go back to the spare bedroom days, what was the first memorable milestone, like client that you got that you considered a milestone for you?
I would say that, because I have experience in working with clients for years and years and years before this, it wasn't necessarily finding a client, it was just getting somebody to trust us that we could do it without the corporation behind us. So, the one thing I was really proud of was that, I built a couple of really key relationships with some fun tourism type events, and just being able to work with them. There's a company that used to be called Skyline Luge, and it turned into being called Downhill Karting. And they basically have like a kart track that goes down a ski hill and winds down the hill, and is actually super fun for not just kids, but for all different age groups. And I just remember having some really difficult conversations with them. They're from New Zealand, headquartered in New Zealand, doing a lot of things on their own, and kind of going like, yeah, I mean, we bought some media from you previously, and now, you're telling us you can do this in a better way. And really, we have to trust that that's accurate, because they've got a very short season, all based on when can we get the snow off of the mountain and when is the snow going to come back on onto the mountain. And in Calgary, that's not a long period of time. So I just remember, kicking off their campaigns and seeing some success right away, and just kind of starting to believe that we were making the right decisions. So, yes, I was doing a lot of cold calling, but, the one thing that I did when I left the Calgary Sun was I went to every single one of my clients and I said, hey, thanks for the business. I'll be back. And I went to an agency and I started calling all these businesses. And then I left the agency and I went, man, what the heck am I going to do now? Like, I've just torched every relationship that I have, because I can't go to them and go, oh, I'm here now. I'm here now. I'm here now. I'm here now. Like, what's that going to do to my reputation? And that was a really key moment where I said, I got to start my own business. Because if I go, I've done really well in the corporate job. I've gone to an agency, recognized challenges, and now I can go back to my clients and I can say, based on this, I've decided to elevate myself into, founding an agency. And I believed that would improve my reputation, improve my relationships, and it did. And really, like I said, coming down to that first couple of clients and recognizing that we could actually achieve the success that we believed we could, we never turned back from that.
Dave, the evolution of your services, you first, when we take the Skyline Luge example, were you offering paid media to start? What were the initial services you started off for the agency?
Yeah, I mean, the big one was programmatic, and programmatic really simply means, display banners and banner ads that essentially just follow you around the internet based on your behavior or your interest, the things that you're looking at, the websites you're on, your demographic, et cetera, because we knew that we could connect those ad campaigns directly to a conversion, and we could provide insight in data. So that was the one thing that we knew that we could give to clients that they weren't getting. And we also knew we could buy it cheaper and we could sell it cheaper. So, you have a major corporation selling it for $20 for every 1,000 times an ad is seen. We're able to sell it for 10. We're able to buy it for 3, for example. We got margins, we got competitive pricing, we've got data. That was all we needed to get into the market. And then quickly, because we were showing success, we started to recognize that our clients were asking for more. And we were at a position of, we either offer these services, we partner with somebody for these services, or we allow our clients to go to other agencies and get the services from them, which means that we could very easily lose them. And so option number 3 was never an option. We started to find those key partners and build those relationships. And then we started finding ways to offer, Google ad campaigns, social media ad buying, and then the content creation side, which took a couple of years to really figure out, we can design ads on our own, but doing it at a higher level and doing, the consistent, daily posting on social media. That took a couple of years to really figure out how to do it without the partnerships, and get to that point where we could hire somebody to do it full time. Was challenging, but we eventually got there. Those are the positions that don't come with revenue. I mean, they do, but in a different way. You're essentially hiring somebody to create another revenue stream, and then trying to figure out where that revenue is going to come from. And again, chicken and the egg, what comes first? But eventually we got there, and pretty much all of the positions outside of operations have revenue attached directly to them. So yeah, it took a while to get through all of those services, and then it probably took 5 years to get to the point where it wasn't about the services anymore. It was about just getting access to the client, identifying the gaps that they have in their business, and then plugging the holes with the services that we had to offer. And we really didn't have anything that we couldn't necessarily do with them. We had resources both internally and lots of great partnerships. And now, like I said, at this point in the business, we don't like to use the full service agency language because everybody says I do everything. We just try to help people understand that it comes down to finding the right strategy and then evolving that strategy into a service agreement.
Yeah, no, I could definitely see how in the beginning, programmatic ads really worked well, and you had clients, and then they kept asking you for more stuff. Hey, Google ads. Hey, we need social ads. Hey, we need more. And it kind of built from there. And, I do want to talk about a little bit more about what you do. And we talked about Calgary Flames. I know you're a big hockey fan. You have some jerseys on the wall. I could see the little figurine behind you there. How did you first start working with Calgary Sports and Entertainment?
Again, previous relationship, and it took a lot, honestly, it took a lot of work, to turn that relationship into a working relationship. But, the thing about Calgary is it's the biggest small town in Canada. And, we're the 3rd largest city here, but when it comes down to it, everybody knows everybody. You want to burn your relationships with people. All it takes is one, and that word gets out real fast here in Calgary. But you want to build your relationships. You want to build your name up. It's very similar in a way that you find the right people, and those relationships really start to come. So we had a relationship with someone who had taken a marketing role in the Flames organization, who was doing an agency review. We put our name in the hat. We competed strongly against others. And the key message for us was just the exact same way we started the business, was that we knew that they were spending hundreds of thousands of dollars without having any clear metric for a return on their ad spend or their true ROI. And we knew we could give them that number. And so for us, it was really about just leveraging that data point of, if you want to know what your ads are doing and you want to see revenue and you want to figure out, truly what dollar for dollar you're doing, we were the partner. And we're probably 6 or 7 years that we've now been working with them, if not longer. They were very early in our business. and easily our biggest client for a while at the beginning. And that evolved into all teams: the Calgary Flames, the lacrosse team, the Roughnecks, the minor hockey team, the Hitmen, the football team, the Stampeders. We're able to give a clear picture for all of the teams, as well as inside the teams. We're able to help them understand how our ads performing game by game, how's creative performing, our games affecting other games in terms of campaign performance. So really it was that. And over the years, they've gone to bat for us. We've been challenged a number of times in terms of are we still the right partner? And they've gone to bat, stating that they believe that we're doing the right thing. So that's a big point of pride for us. And you're right. I mean, the jersey behind me, this is the probably the only team signed. It's an Every Child Matters jersey that was created for the Calgary Hitmen. I was at that game, and we're very fortunate to be able to hand over a jersey at times and ask for it to be signed. And just a couple of different relationships got me down to getting that team to sign the jersey. And this is a big point of pride for me as personally, that hangs on the wall. And then we've got lots of Flames jerseys in the office here. We've got the lacrosse jersey, we've got the football jersey. And then we've got a new team. Well, I mean, over the years, we've helped launch two teams. We helped launch the Cavalry, which is the soccer team. They're not involved with Calgary Sports Entertainment. And then most recently, we've just completed the second year of the basketball team, which is the Calgary Surge. And we helped them launch initially last year, and again, really give a clear picture on their return on investment where it relates to advertising. They're looking at us as a key partner for all aspects of their marketing. We're having better conversations with them about creative performance. How are people identifying with the creative messaging? What do you need to see in an ad to really connect with the team? And they're a challenging one. Their team turns over almost every year. They've got new players. There aren't long-term contracts. These are guys that could go to the G League. They could go to Europe. They could potentially go to the NBA. They could go wherever. And they have opportunity year over year to do that. So building a relationship between the fans and the team is not easy. So we build a relationship between the fans and the sport, and we showcase, people at the games having a good time and really help people. And I take this approach to tourism. You want to talk about traveling somewhere. You want to take a family, put that picture in your campaigns. You want to show people actually being there. Because at the end of the day, yeah, we get memories, but we get that picture of us at the game, right? That's what we get as people who go to games, who travel, who do things with our families. We hang that picture on the wall. That's what's impactful for us. And you'd be shocked at how impactful it is when it comes to messaging for an ad and creative design. And so, we've learned a lot over the years, and we can bring that expertise not just to them. I'd love to bring it to sports teams across North America. If that's a message that we can get out, that we would be wide open for business in that space. It's a hard space to break into without relationships, but we love sports. But it's one of hundreds of clients that we've worked with over the years, lots of different industries. We're just really at a point in the company where we're not looking for doctors, dentists, lawyers, chiropractors. We're kind of open for business for sure.
No, I like how you describe your thought process behind it, because, being in Chicagoland, you go to Bulls games, Chicago Bulls games, and pay a ton of money for tickets and drinks and whatever. But we've also gone to the G League Windy City Bulls, and it's kind of a really cool experience. It's actually like a fraction of the cost. They let the kids go out on the court and get autographs afterwards. So the experience is almost sometimes more impactful. And my kids don't even know who the Bulls players are anyway. Like
sure.
the professional players. So seeing, the G League players, which some of them actually go up to the Bulls, is interesting. So I love how you kind of think what does the family actually want? It may not be a connection to the players because they're kind of transient, but Another organization you worked with is the Epilepsy Foundation, and you specifically help with Purple Day by Night. Can you talk a bit about that?
Yeah, this was a passion project for John, for my business partner, but something that really kind of helped us identify where we can help non-for-profits, and that Purple Day by Night is a major fundraiser for them, and they need to run a silent auction. And a lot of these organizations don't have the resources or don't have really the understanding of how to create websites, how to run online auctions, what type of messaging to put out. A lot of their websites are kind of janky. They don't work very well. They don't have updated messaging on events. And so we were able to help them really put their best foot forward. And we were in a really good position to do this without really taking a fee. We're able to exchange sponsorship, and we're able to exchange partnership and give back. And so it was really important for us just to support them and help them do this. So this is now turning into a longer relationship, and then we're going to continue to help them. But again, you can see our logo there, which is actually, we've just updated our logo and just did a little bit of a rebranding for ourselves. So that logo's changing. But last year when we worked with them, that would have been the current logo. But yeah, this is something that we like to do. We like to look within the community, find opportunities to help. And I think that's one thing that I said this all through COVID, but I still say it, that as marketers, we have skills, we have experience, we have ability to offer our services a lot of the times without a fee, because really, what does it take for us to step in and help with strategy or help with direction? Yes, the company has to make money. Yes, we have to value our time. But when you can get involved in something that becomes a passion, we have all the ability to help people. And so when I talk to people about what did it take us to survive COVID, it was that very mantra of just reaching out and helping people. We stopped asking people for money. We started asking them, how's your family? And how are you doing? And what's going on in your life? And then, it evolves to how's the business and what's going on and how can we help you? And then, eventually it evolves to a conversation of revenue and fees and all that kind of stuff. And we lost a large portion of our revenue right in the first 3 months of COVID because of the full stop. All the sports stopped, the doors closed, there's nothing, you can't go anywhere. We're working with restaurants, they're shutting down. But by the end of 2020, we had doubled our revenue from 2019, right in the very first year of COVID. And simply, it was just that we stopped thinking about growing the business. We started thinking about helping people, and it turned into growth for us. And we've always, the 10 years in the business, that's been the approach.
Dave, I love it. Thank you so much. I want to encourage people to check out infrontmarketing.ca. More episodes of the podcast. And Dave, thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks you, everyone. Sir. Appreciate the time today and the conversation. This was great.
What I got, you can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sailing right now. I feel like $100 grand.